Have you ever considered purchasing a accessible vehicle, such as a van? And if you have, this video is for you today, but you need to take out a pad because you'll need to make a list. There's a lot of details to this. If you're purchasing another van, or if you are purchasing your first accessible vehicle. So get your pad out, and I'm going to go into detail about finding or getting a accessible vehicle. Now, this information is based on the USA, so that's all I know. England has a different program for people with disabilities, and they have like a voucher type program. So you'd have to look at the UK in terms of how all that works. So I have another program coming up here. I don't know why, but all right. My name is Lisa, by the way, and you have landed in Power Wheelchairs. No, Power Wheelchairs. No, World Wheelchairs for Success. No, it's not that one either. So I'm hoping you read which channel you're on, because my brain's not working this morning. World Wheelchair Champions. I'm almost there. So I'll get it right by the end. You'll see. All right. So let's talk about vans. So the first thing on your list needs to be the budget. Of course, how much can you afford? One of the things here in the U.S. that you need to keep in mind is that there are two things that, in terms of your budget, you can put on there. One, if you have a car already, that car can be used to do bring in a car, and that car can help reduce the cost. So you can do that. Number two, there are not-for-profit organizations out there that can give some monetary assistance in purchasing a van. So that's important to know, those two things, as you plan a budget. So identify accessibility requirements for you. So what type of mobility device needs to be accommodated, whether it's a wheelchair, a scooter, or a power wheelchair. Some people call our power wheelchairs scooters, and they're not. So had to correct somebody the other day. But anyway, is it a power wheelchair? Is it a manual wheelchair or a scooter? What are the dimensions and weight? So that's important to know. Are there specific needs for entry and exit, ramp versus lift, side versus rear entry? So all those details, as we go along, you're going to see how that plays into the cost. Consider other users and needs. So if you're gonna, they're talking about users, you know, if you have other people you're gonna pick up who use wheelchairs, a family member, is it a cousin, friends you wanna pick up that also use wheelchairs? So how many passengers will the van typically need to carry? So is it just you, and then you might pick up family members for an event or friends for an activity? Are there other features that would be beneficial for all occupants? So that's something that you want to put on your list. And they could be minor things, they could be big things, I don't know. So consider other users and other users' needs. So okay, determine a realistic budget. So that's really important. And again, as I said, here in the US, you can swap your car for a van. That will bring down the price. You can have an organization that can give you some assistance applying for a type of voucher here in the U.S. I don't think it'll cover everything, but it'll cover some of it. So those are two areas that you need to keep in mind. But that put aside, accessible vans can range significantly in price from around $75,000 to $170,000 for new models. Now, that said, Brown Ability is a big company here in the U.S. that makes accessible vans. And when they sell, they'll sell like a new van with secondhand equipment. They'll sell a used van with used equipment. They'll sell a used van with new equipment. So it's all those combinations that they put in for you to see what you can afford. You could have a new van with new equipment. So it just all depends on your budget. But they will do those combinations to see what fits your budget. So it doesn't mean you have to purchase a new van, which is always nice to do. But if you can't quite afford a new van, then there are used vans that they rehab and then they put in new equipment. So you have to look at those combinations. I think it's Mobility Works is the company, one of the companies that sells the Brown Ability accessible vans. So Mobility Works does all that for you when you're talking about your budget, what you can afford. Then they start playing with the different combinations to look at what is possible for your budget. So it's always good to know that. Explore financing options, as I said. Research loans specifically for accessible vehicles. Some lenders specialize in that area. Now, it can be a lender, or it can also be a voucher type program. Research vehicle types and conversion options. So this is what they mean. So side entry versus rear entry. The van that we have here at our house is a rear entry, and there's a couple of reasons for that. Side entry, generally the most popular, offering more flexible seating arrangements and the possibility for the wheelchair user to drive or sit in the front passenger seat. Often features lowered floors for easier entry. Ramps can be fold out or in floor. So it just kind of slides. They just tuck it inside the floor, and it can be pulled out. Rear entry, which is a van we have, often less expensive, initially. Ramps are usually wider, and the door opening can be taller. So that's an advantage. Good for larger mobility devices, such as power wheelchairs or complex power wheelchairs tend to be a little bit taller, a little bit heavier too. Typically requires a caregiver for operation, and the wheelchair user usually rides in the back. Now, do I always ride in the back? No, I can go up to about the middle of the van, so it's pretty good. They did some arranging of the seats there, but I can go up to about the middle of the van. Ramps versus lifts. So ramps can be manual or power, fold out or in floor, generally simpler and less prone to mechanical issues. Yes, that's very true. Lifts, platform lifts, raise the wheelchair and the occupant into the van. can be necessary for larger power wheelchairs or scooters. Or no, you see, they're calling it scooters again, but it can be. Power wheelchairs or scooters may require more maintenance. Ours has been okay. At the beginning, it was a little buggy, but we seem to handle it pretty well now. So at the beginning, it was touch and go. But it does have a manual gear, so if it ever got stuck, you can still, lower it, open it up with the hand gear. Full-size vans versus minivans versus SUVs, because SUVs can also be accessible. Minivans, the most common base for conversions, offering a good balance of space and maneuverability. Okay. Full-size vans provide the most interior space and can accommodate more complex modifications. So our van is a full-size van, so the tall kind, truck kind of feel. All right, SUVs, a newer option offering a different aesthetic, but with potential less interior space than minivans. So you have to consider that. Consider new versus used, and that we talked about already. New vans offer the latest features and warranties, while used vans can be more budget-friendly. Be sure to have a used van inspected by a trusted mechanic, especially the accessibility equipment. Okay, identify dealers and conversion companies. So look for specialized mobility dealers, and that we just talked about. Nationwide, I think Brown Ability is one of the bigger ones, and one of their subsidiaries is Mobility Works, and they're pretty good. Those are the people we used. So the dealers have experience with accessible vehicles and can offer a range of makes, models, and conversion options. So that's really important. They can also often assist with financing and finding grants. So there you go. Resources like the National Mobility Equipment Dealer associated with NMEDA can help you find accredited dealers. So research conversion companies. So some companies specialize modifying vehicles. You might purchase a standard van and then have it converted to your specifications. So that can be done. But I would think that would come out a little bit more expensive, but I don't know. Check online inventories. So websites of mobility dealers, manufacturers like Brown Ability, United Access, and Freedom Motors often list available vehicles. So these are usually newer models and used vehicles. Visit dealers and test drive vehicles. And this is important to kind of get a hang of it, whether it's your caregiver that's going to drive or even you. So schedule a visit in local dealers, and that's one of the best things you can do, because I think when you're purchasing one of these vehicles, you build a relationship, really. You get to know the organization, and the organization gets to know you. And once you are a customer, you're a customer for life, basically. And they will help you through the process and afterwards. So scheduling a visit to me is important. So test drive potential vehicles to see how it feels. Ask detailed questions. So inquire about the conversion process, the warranties, maintenance, yearly maintenance, because we have to do that. Any available training on using the accessibility equipment, which is really, really important. I know that Mobility Works, they have that as their priority to train the people who are purchasing the vehicle to be trained in the equipment. Explore funding, which we talked about, which Veterans Affairs might have some benefits, state and local grants, non-for-profit organizations that I talked about, manufacturer rebates, personal fundraising, like platforms like Help, Hope, and can assist with crowdfunding campaigns, negotiate price, and finalize the purchase. So that's kind of towards the end, and that depends also if you have a vehicle that you want to trade in. So obtain quotes from multiple dealers, negotiate the final price, review the purchase agreement carefully. So those are just tips. Insurance and registration, which is always required. Obtain appropriate insurance. Register the vehicle with the Wisconsin Department of Transportation or your state. Learn to use and maintain a van. So vans are a little bit bigger. And so, where you can wash it. If you get those tall, full vans, where can you wash it? Because that's one of the things we found out. We couldn't take it to a regular car wash. We had to take it to a specialized car wash place where they usually wash buses. They have, that type of wash. So that's important to consider. To just check in if something is loose or whatever. Sometimes people have boo-boos at the beginning. They go under roofs that are not high enough for the van, and they kind of crack a light or whatever at the top. So you want to be careful with those things. Receive training on the accessibility features. The dealer or conversion company should provide thorough instructions on how to safely operate the ramps. Yeah. And there's little tricks. There's little tricks that we learned to handle our van. So that was important. So there's these little tidbits that are really useful especially when the lifts get a little bucky. So this comprehensive approach, the little tidbits I've been reading, will help ensure the accessible van you purchase in the USA anyway meets your specific needs. So you really need to make that list of, budget, your personal needs in the van, reliable transportation for home use, or is this a company? I don't know who's listening to this video. So, but it's important to make a really detailed list and with questions so that the agency can spend time answering all those questions. And especially the one on budget, because that's the one that holds us back from getting something that's accessible is the cost. So really important to figure that out from the beginning. But again, the agency is going to say it depends on what you're looking for. So are you looking for a new one with new equipment or a new one with used equipment? Or you're looking for a used van, used vehicle with new equipment, and that will all, change the cost. So, and they can give you the comparison list and see what you think, see what is possible. All right, folks, this was a detailed list of things to do if you're looking at purchasing a accessible vehicle, whether it's an SUV, a minivan, or a full-size van. I'm hoping it's helpful. I know that people out there, we really need it sometimes to get to point A to point B and to have that accessibility to transportation. In some places we have good transportation, in other places we don't. and we really need accessibility. So I'm hoping this is helpful so you can start making your list today, and see what comes of it. And let me know how it goes. Now, again, in the UK, in other parts of Europe, they have different programs that are completely different from the USA. So that's something that you need to take a look at if you're looking in somewhere in Africa, or somewhere in South America, or somewhere in the USA. All right, people, be kind to yourselves, be kind to others, and give us a like if you have time for that. It's all free. Subscribe. It's all free to do that too. And that will help our channel continue to grow. All right. Take care, and I'll see all of you in the next one.